Well, hello and welcome to another month of boat building fun. It's not very often that I buy something just for its looks with purely a great visual effect, but I've gone and spent 200 Australian dollars, that's 140 American, 8,000 pesos, on something that I think is going to look just fantastic. I haven't picked them up yet, but I will next week.
This rear cabin area is going to be removed. I'm going to make quite a spacious cockpit area there, which will come up really good. I'll work out the design. But I'm going to be using these shelves and what have you underneath the cockpit floor, but they're covered in vinyl, so I've got to get them off. I don't think vinyl on shelving in a boat is a very good idea. A good place to trap water and bugs to get in, cracks.
The more you look, the more you find.
Oh, and here's another one in the back cabin. I see they stuck a nail in there. Yes, that'll fix it. No, the same here on the other side.
Fortunately, all easy to fix. Is the companionway lid from over there, and is typical of the boat in general and my approach in how to fix it. It's, well, half of the boat is like this. Half the boat is rotten and needs to be replaced. If it's anything like any good, then I leave it. I'll wait for a few days for this to dry out, then I'll do a saturation epoxy on this and then put a piece of thin ply in. I'm getting low on wood supplies, so I'm now starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel. I need a piece of timber along here, and I'm resorting to using stuff like this, but it's alright. Okay, now I've got as much timber on here as I can get, and next will be epoxy, and lots of it. This is my fairing technique. I put on thick, hard epoxy, lots of it, and then I scrape it all off with a nice flat edge like this, and then I end up with something that's pretty close to what I want straight away. Then I sand it, just hand sand it with block sandpaper, and then fill in the little gaps with this, and the job's virtually done with very little sanding. With less than 5 minutes of sanding, this is what we end up with. I've been just taking off the little burrs, and next I'll fill in the little gaps everywhere with epoxy. I'll spend about 2 minutes sanding that, and then I'll do it again. I've spent about 10 minutes with the electric sander on this, and to me that's close enough. That's good enough. especially when you compare it to the rest of the mess down under here. Next will be a coat of grey epoxy primer to stop the light coming through, which looks pretty silly on the inside. And then I'll give that a sand, and then its final coat. Well, maybe I will touch it up one more time, with the idea of making the boat like a car all over is just not going to happen. Spread the epoxy primer around. One's done as well. This definitely needs a few more go-overs. It's always disappointing to find paint coming away. The better I find it and fix it now rather than later. Here in the back cabin, cut a hole in the floor to see what's going on, to find it's all dry and good wood. Near where the sink is going to go, I've cut another hole. And this one's a keeper. Pity about the voids in the plywood. That's not marine ply. Anyway, that goes on like so. It's fiddly and time consuming, but something I need to do is coat every piece of timber that goes in the boat with at least 2 coats of epoxy. There's little covering strips, and this one here goes underneath the bed over the armours. These pieces here go with the bling that I mentioned at the start of this video. I'll show you before the end of the video once I've prepared these pieces. I've got little screws in the end so I can actually epoxy all the way around. Here in the very lowest part of the boat, at the bottom of the bilge, as mentioned in the last video, I've got water coming in and being replenished with every high tide. It's not just trapped in there. So I am searching for the way that water can be coming inside. And it appears that the only possible way that water can be getting into the hole is right here through this, which remains damp well after the tide's gone out. So I'm going to wait for some super low tides so this is totally dry. Then I'm going to carve all this area away and seal it up with epoxy. Well, by sealing that up and observing what's happening for about a week, it's clear that that is where the water is coming in. Time now to cut it away and see what's really going on. Well, here it is, the source of my water ingress, and the cutlass bearing doesn't even go inside the tube. It's just epoxied in. It doesn't even make it all the way to the tube, so they put a little spacer in there and they did not seal it up properly at all. And it's good to have found the problem. It's quite nice having the view of the water where I live, but my heart really jumps for joy when I see this view. Magnificent. One day I'm going to be out there. The ocean. Fantastic. It's sort of like deja vu. I did that one over there some time ago, and here I am doing it again. I love the red light that comes in from the hatch with the red acrylic there, and it keeps moving around. It's really quite good.
Now, this is the port bunk area, and I'm going to put a double mattress in here. I'll start the mattress about here, so I've got a shelf here for phones and tablets and bits and pieces, and the mattress will come up to here, and I'm making these pieces over the port armour so the mattress doesn't fall down in there, and they're coming up quite well. Making a funny little box here. This is so that I can have a proper venting system for the engine room. This is the roughest table I've ever made in my life. It's made out of bits and pieces out of the old boat. Structures that were a part of the framing around the navigation area. Anyway, it's to house my new little refrigerator, which is right here, which is a little beauty I'm going to use in the hut here for a while, and then ultimately I'm going to use it on the boat. Oh, and before I go, the bling that I talked about at the start of the video. Now, look at the cross arms. We've got crawl throughs there, and it doesn't look good. This is before, and this is after. Huh. Much nicer. I'm quite pleased. Anyway, that's it for this month. Toodaloo.